Hey, friends and family, happy Wednesday. You know, as a pastor, we're often accused of working only one day a week as it is. And now with the pandemic and emergency declarations, we don't even get that one day a week to work. So we're just looking for things to do. So I'm here in our church auditorium and practicing my jokes. I'm sure the church will appreciate that. I've told a few jokes this morning and have received the same response that I normally would on a Sunday morning: complete silence. And no, I'm actually here because I wanted to invite you to join me this evening for a small Bible study that we're going to have at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to take one chapter and one truth out of the chapter of this book called Gospel Fluency. It was written by Jeff Vanderstelt. So in January of 2017, our family moved from the suburbs of Chicago to the rural town of Luray, Virginia. And we knew that our life would change moving from the city to the country, but I personally had no idea how much my heart would change as I would begin to have a gospel transformation take place in my life. So it started on the very first day that I was working in my office, and one of the associate pastors came down and said, "Hey, Pastor Brian, what can I pray with you about today?" And I just shared a few things that were on my heart, and he said, "Well, you know what, I'm going to pray for you today." And he put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, "I'm going to pray that you can work out of the rest the gospel offers." And when he said that, I'll have to admit, I had no idea what he was talking about. How was I supposed to work while I was supposed to rest? And what exactly was the rest that the gospel offers? I really wasn't sure what he meant. You see, I had spent 40 years growing up in a church that had a strong spiritual foundation and provided solid biblical teaching. But somehow in those 40 years, I had failed to connect living the Christian life back to Jesus Christ, back to the foundation of the gospel and the cross. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I had to place my faith and trust in what Jesus Christ did for me, for my salvation from hell. But I had no idea that the gospel was also the source where I would find the transformation I needed to live out my everyday Christian life for the Lord. Somehow I had come to understand that I needed Jesus for my salvation, but that I could do the everyday stuff on my own. And I would live out that everyday Christian life by following all the rules and keeping all the standards. And really, I was trying to show everybody what a good Christian I was, that Jesus saved somebody that was really worthy of being saved. And I was going to show that by the way that I lived. I had no idea, though, that I was truly just living out the life of a modern day Pharisee. I was keeping all the rules, but I was doing it so that I could show my goodness, my righteousness, and my glory, rather than God's goodness and God's righteousness and God's glory. But over the past decade, God has been working in my heart and in my life in some very big ways, and my heart has begun to change. But as I go back to that question that Pastor Mike asked me in the office, that the gospel offers rest, I still didn't fully understand what that meant. But God is so good. And week by week, God has continued to transform my heart, primarily through the work of other people. He has used authors and preachers like Tim Keller and Paul Tripp, David Platt, and J.D. Greear to help me grow in my understanding of knowing who Jesus is and understanding what Jesus has done for me and how that matters to my life today and not just to my eternity. Now, I began to see the Bible as from start to finish, pointing to who Jesus Christ is and what Jesus Christ has done for me. I've began to see how the storyline of Scripture is all about a God, a holy God, in pursuit of rebellious, sinful people and willing to even sacrifice his perfect son because he wanted a relationship with us so much. And I think probably one of the greatest truths that I have learned is that I don't live a Christian life to be accepted by God. I live my Christian life because I am accepted by God, not because of the works I've done, but because of the works that Jesus Christ has done. And that has changed my life. And a part of that big transformation was this book, Gospel Fluency. I came across it on an audiobook and had no idea who the author was, didn't know anything about the book, but it seemed interesting to me in the description, so I listened to it the first time, and wow, I will tell you, fireworks went off in my heart and mind, but I didn't really fully understand it. So I went back and listened to it a second time. Then I listened to it a third, a fourth, and a fifth time. 5 times in a row, I listened to this book, and man, it in no way could I describe it better than this. It connected the dots of my Christian life to the gospel. It connected everything that I had already known back to the person and to the work of Jesus Christ. And so today I'm going to invite you tonight as we just take one chapter and one truth and share it with you about how it has the ability to transform your life, not just in the future, but right here and right now, about how you can even understand this pandemic that we're going through, how it can be used for your good and for God's glory. So I hope that you'll join us at 6 p.m. this evening, Eastern Time. You could be on our Facebook page, our church Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, or our church website, which is mcrbc.org. mcrbc.org. And this gospel transformation that has taken place in my life has helped me come to understand what Pastor Mike meant when he said, I'm praying that you can work out of the rest the gospel offers to you. You know, Jesus Christ has done the work that needed to be done. Jesus Christ has done the work that you and I could never do. And so the greatest work of our life is complete. We have peace with God because of Jesus Christ. You know what that means? It means everything else on your to-do list today, it doesn't really have to get done. I know there's things we want to do and there's priorities that we have, but you can rest. You can work out of a rest that the greatest work of your life is done, has been done by Jesus Christ. And man, what a great comfort that is. So go to work today, but realize if you don't finish everything, that's okay. The greatest work that needs to be done in your life today has been done, and it's been done by Jesus Christ because he loves you so much. I hope that that offers you rest as you work today, because the gospel is the greatest news you'll ever hear. Have a blessed day. I hope that you join us this evening at 6 p.m.